The New York Giants and Saquon Barkley have come to terms on a one-year deal worth $11 million. Now, the way that Saquon Barkley can obtain all of this money is that he has the incentive laced into this contract. If the Giants make the playoffs, plus he has 1,350 rushing yards, 11 total touchdowns, and 65 receptions, he will get $900K extra according to this deal. And for the New York Giants, they kind of had to make this move. We all knew that the New York Giants were not going to be able to make it to the playoffs this year without Saquon Barkley being a member on that squad. A lot of people keep saying that the running back position is easily replaceable. Yes, that is true, but guys like Saquon Barkley don't grow on trees. You're not going to find a lot of running backs that have the talent that Saquon Barkley brings to the table. You see, positional value doesn't always equate the talent all the time. Sometimes talent exceeds positional value. A running back like CMC and Saquon Barkley is good enough to win you an extra game or two due to what they're able to do catching the football out of the backfield and how good they are as running backs. You guys forget Saquon Barkley's rookie season, he was one of the best running backs in the NFL, despite the fact that the New York Giants had one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. And Saquon Barkley hasn't really played with a good offensive line throughout any of his healthy seasons with the New York Giants, and despite that has put up elite running back production. So I'm a little bit disappointed he didn't get a long-term deal, but he is going to get paid this year. And for Daniel Jones, now you're going to have him back in the backfield. That read option combination with Saquon and Vanilla Vic is going to be really deadly. And I'm interested to see how this ends up playing out long term. Are the Giants going to extend Saquon after this season? You see, I think that a lot of people are overlooking that Saquon Barkley isn't on the same staff that drafted him, and he doesn't have the same people in the front office that made the decision to take him as high as where he went when he got drafted a couple of years back by New York. So when you got a new GM and a new head coach that didn't draft you, I don't think they're going to have as much likeness towards you enough to be able to want to pay you as much as what you feel you deserve. Meanwhile, if you're a team that has a player that you drafted with the same GM that drafted him and the same coaching staff, there's going to be more likelihood that they're going to extend him, regardless if there are some injury concerns. Look at what happened with Jason Garrett, Ezekiel Elliott. He has a tendency to overpay these guys, and the reason for that is because he has a little bit of favoritism towards them. You want to know why? Because he was the person who was the reason for why they became a Dallas Cowboy. So, of course, there's going to be some personal bias towards certain players that a general manager drafts. Saquon Barkley isn't really getting that kind of treatment. Joe Schoen, they're kind of looking at him saying, like, you're a great player, but it's like, we ain't really draft you, so, we don't really have, the same desire to give you a long-term deal as the previous regime would have had. Saquon Barkley, though, I am really excited to see him play this year for the New York Giants. I have him on a couple of my fantasy teams. I was a little bit worried. That's why they say don't draft your teams this early, but he now has been contracted, or I don't know if you can say contracted is a word, but he has now been signed to the New York Giants. He isn't playing on the franchise tag. This is a one-off deal. So let's see if they can strike a long-term deal throughout some point of the season, or if they bring him back next year.